Hey everyone, what's up? This is Fatal Walter once again. I'm here to bring you another story about a neckbeard. Neckbeards are those glorious gentlemen who are both smarter and more chivalrous than other men. They lord over women with their intellect, and also don't usually have the best hygiene. So tip your fedora to milady, and let's get into it with neckbeard stories from Reddit. A long time ago, I put out a video called The Worst Neckbeard Story I Could Find, and people really enjoyed me complaining about a story. This one isn't as bad, but it's another one that seems a bit too on point. Also, spoilers, they end up hurting the neckbeard, which always seems pretty cringy to me. The theme of this one is that the neckbeard finds out two women and a man are in a polyamorous relationship and then tries to get in on it. Yes, that much is pretty believable, honestly. I'd like you all to let me know in the comments if you're able to take this at face value or not. Sometimes these things are exaggerated rather than fabricated. Or it could be completely real, I guess. Anyway, the story comes to us from Reddit Neckbeard Stories, which seems to be a lot more popular than when I last used it. That's pretty cool. Yes, I am in a polyamorous relationship. No, you may not force your way into it. Yay! After so long reading stories and watching YouTube videos of neckbeards in the wild, I finally have a story to post. For context, I, 24 female, am in an exclusive, monogamous poly relationship with hubby, 34, and wifey, 27. Okay, someone asked me what a monogamous poly relationship is when I read this to him, and I'm pretty sure it means that they only get intimate with the three in the relationship. I know, the word monogamous is a little misleading here. We've been together for almost 5 years and are very protective/territorial of each other. We do not like people attempting to insert themselves in our business without prior consent. We are very open about our relationship. We see no reason to hide it, and no reason to not be proud of how far we've come. If approached politely and not creepily, we will even explain how our relationship works for those who are generally curious or have never heard of it before. Some people, however, apparently cannot understand the word no. Let's meet the cast. Me, your 5'4", friendly neighborhood queen of bitchitude with zero tolerance for stupidity and creepy behavior, especially when it comes to wifey. Not afraid to stab a bitch. 10 out of 10, would recommend cake. Wifey, also 5'4", a little naive and sheltered. Also 100% dork who will legitimately break out dancing if she gets bored enough. Why, you might ask? We have no idea. Hubby and I are absolutely convinced she's missing a crucial screw up there somewhere. We still adore the shit out of her though. Hubby, 6'2" beanpole who is way stronger than he looks due to excessive rock hounding. For those who don't know, rock hounding is when you go out and find specific types of rock to carve and polish into jewelry, and occasional woodworking projects. His woodworking is actually pretty good, and I'm not being biased because he's my hubby. His last fish tank sold for over $200. Awesome, right? I've been rock hounding before. I'm guessing it makes you strong because you have to carry buckets of rocks? Yeah, that must be it. Gagbeard. Where the hell do I even start here? To put it bluntly, he's at max 5'7", and likely 30 years old, 300 or so pounds, has an absolute obsession with lesbians, and zero regard for personal hygiene. You know, usual neckbeard type. The story. This happened about a week ago on one of the rare occasions my partners had been given the same day off of work. They both work for the same company as drivers for NEMT, non-emergency medical transportation, patients, and their day usually starts at around 4 a.m. and ends after 5 p.m. It was a nice day out, relatively cool for midsummer Southern California weather, and wifey and I decided that instead of driving the block to the pharmacy to drop off our new prescriptions and pick up our current scripts, we would walk. Little did we know that this would be a very, very, very bad idea. The walk to the pharmacy was pretty uneventful and relatively nice. We avoided the morons and big shiny metal objects driving way too fast for a residential area and continued on our way to our destination in peace. Side note, wifey is considered high risk due to severe asthma, so I tend to keep her as far from maskless people as possible, regardless of their vaccination status, because resistant strains exist and I'd rather get it than her for both her sake and her passengers. We make our way to the back of the CVS to the pharmacy aisle and patiently wait in line for our turn, like normal people. It isn't too long before the dreaded stench became obvious behind us, and I do mean behind us. As in our pockets, close. I could almost feel his gravitational pull on my skin behind us, and my guard went up rather quickly. I turn around and through gritted teeth politely remind him of the social distancing mandate and asked him to back up. He took this moment to rove his eyes up and down my body, barely containing his glee at a female talking to him in even an obviously semi-hostile tone. He smiles, revealing yellowing teeth that are not covered by a mask and obviously haven't been brushed in a while. and grunts, "Don't worry, milady, I'm not sick," and with another hungry look adds quietly in a seductive voice, "I don't bite either." Yeah, well, that went from 0 to 100 real quick. Hard to imagine just walking up and talking to someone like that. Especially with the milady. My creep meter skyrockets and breaks the atmosphere, but again, public space, must be polite. I force a smile and turn back to wifey, subtly grabbing her elbow and pulling her a few steps in front of me and away from Gagbeard. She immediately notices the change in behavior and obeys without complaint, and says nothing when I put my palm against the small of her back to control how close she gets to the living sack of garbage-filled lard behind me. This, however, gets Gagbeard's attention rather quickly, as it is an obviously intimate gesture as my hand is maybe an inch from her ass. He quickly puts 2 and 2 together, who knew he could count, and asks in a very eager tone, "Is she your girlfriend?" Wifey, not being the brightest bulb in the lamp in most situations like this, doesn't hesitate to chirp, "She's my wife." I resist the urge to both facepalm and throttle her. If there is one thing I've learned in Reddit Neckbeard situations, you do not, under any circumstances, answer questions about your personal life. She apparently did not know this or plain forgot. Gagbeard then launches into the most disgusting, fetish-laced tirade of how sexy he finds lesbians and how he wishes he could see them up close in action. Wifey suddenly realizes why my behavior changed so quickly and sends me a heavily apologetic look. By the way, this isn't really a valid complaint, but I really hate the words wifey and hubby. I wouldn't be bothered reading it, but I keep having to say them, you know? The pharmacist lets us know it's our turn, and I quickly maneuver her into the safety of the kiosk and begin the process of dropping off our new scripts and picking up our existing scripts. Our pharmacist is a good friend of ours since we come in about once every 2 weeks, usually during her shift, and asks how hubby is doing since the last time we came in it was to give her a script for nasal spray due to excessive nosebleeds. So naturally she wants to know if he's doing better. Fatal error number 1 occurs. She asks what we're doing for his birthday since it was next week, and wifey eagerly tells her we're making a calendar for his birthday, for our bedroom, in full hearing of Gagbeard, who has now realized exactly what kind of relationship we are in. I hear an excited, "You guys are both dating the same guy?" from behind us and inwardly groan. It's one thing for normal people to know about our relationship, it's a completely different thing for a neckbeard to know about our relationship. I brace for the worst. It comes quickly. Gagbeard, "Oh my god, I can't believe you guys are real. I've only heard stories about people with multiple partners. How does this sex work? Is it like a 3-way, or does he like to watch as you two get it on?" Wifey cringes and hurriedly grabs our prescriptions as our pharmacist friend asks him to quiet down and reminds him our relationship is none of his business. He ignores this and continues to ask increasingly vulgar questions, the worst being, "So, does she taste good?" Sensing this is not going to end anytime soon, I grab wifey and yank her toward the exit, power walking as fast as I can away from Gagbeard, who suddenly realizes we are trying to run away from him. We hear a huff and him asking for his prescription, and then we're out the door. We make our way down the sidewalk and apparently round the corner, just as Gagbeard makes it outside, giving him ample opportunity to see exactly which direction we've gone. Fatal error number 2 occurs. I do not check behind us to see if he has followed us because I stupidly assumed he'd left well after we had. We make it to our street before my common sense kicks in and I casually look behind us and almost shit myself to see Gagbeard watching us intently and following us at a short distance. I promptly freak the fuck out. On another side note, we live in the ghetto. Our neighborhood is literally known as Felony Flats by law enforcement and emergency services. It's not uncommon to hear gunfire at night, drunks banging on doors in the hopes someone opens the door so they can force their way inside and do God knows what, and walk past multiple drug dealers loitering around the convenience store down the street. We hate it, but the rent is cheap, $680 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment and an enclosed garage, and we can't afford another place during the pandemic. I suddenly realize we are directly outside our triplex and quietly order wifey inside and to send hubby out to deal with what I now understand is a massive problem that I cannot handle myself. As she leaves toward our front door, I plant myself between our walkway and Gagbeard, who has caught up. "Me, did you actually follow us here?" Gagbeard proudly states, "Well, I wanted to talk to you two and get to know you guys more," and quietly murmurs under his disgusting breath, "and maybe join you." Y'all, I lost my shit. Maximum bitch mode activated. Me. What the actual fuck, dude? What gave you the slightest fucking impression we wanted anyone, let alone you of all people, to intrude on our relationship? Gagbeard looks taken aback by my outburst and mutters, "Well, it's obvious your husband doesn't appreciate you two. He lets you walk alone outside. He's just asking for a gentleman like me to whisk you away to safety. You need me." Me, you followed us to our house without our consent to try and demand entry into our relationship? Why the hell would you think that okay behavior? Gagbeard, well, Hubby, am leaving. Now. I almost jumped for joy. Hubby had finally come to deal with Gagbeard. Gagbeard looks him up and down, scowls at the knowledge that this skinny beanpole has two women he believes belong to him, and snaps, "And just who the hell are you supposed to be?" Hubby, to his credit, does not immediately rise to his challenge. "I'm their husband, and you are not welcome here, dickbag." Gagbeard levels what he must think is his most intimidating glare and steps forward toward me. "You don't deserve them. They'd be much better taken care of with me." Hubby looks furious and reaches into the pocket I know for a fact contains his hunting knife that gets sharpened once a week. Not wanting Hubby to go to jail for murder, I immediately step between them and snarl, "Leave, now, or I swear to God you'll regret it." Hubby grins and steps back, knowing full well at this point the mini taser I constantly carry in my pocket is now on and ready. Knowing how it feels firsthand after claiming it's useless once, he does not want to be within arm's reach of me once it's active. Gagbeard does not know this and takes another threatening step in my direction in an attempt to save me from the unworthy Chad. My hand strikes out faster than he can blink, connects with his man boob, and begins loosing 10,000 volts of unadulterated pain fuel into his body. I have never heard a grown man scream so loud before in my life, and it was fucking glorious. I got a huge sense of satisfaction from his blubbering and the puddle of pee that was slowly forming on his sweatpants. And that's how we left him, writhing on the concrete in pee-stained pants and tear-soaked cheeks. We feel absolutely no remorse for this, and have been patiently waiting for him to come back and liberate us from Hubby's spell. We did hear what sounded like an ambulance outside at one point, but since the taser only gives enough juice to get the point across safely, we weren't very concerned. I also have it legally registered, so fuck you, Gagbeard. No foursomes for you, creepo. Well, there we go. Of course he pissed himself. One final indignity. I don't know, I have a few problems. I've seen neckbeards in stories act this badly before, but it's usually after escalating for a while, or in a place where he thinks it's going to be looked over, like a convention. If this is really how a 30-year-old man acts toward people he's never seen before, in line at a pharmacy in broad daylight in front of everyone, I'd expect him to be in prison by now. This is more predator behavior than neckbeard behavior. Also, wasn't the husband much stronger than him, but he's just gonna pull out a knife and gut him instead of hitting him? I'm not saying nothing happened, but it seems a bit embellished to me. Okay, the story was a bit longer than I expected, but make sure to let me hear your opinion on the matter. I'm not always right, despite what I might tell people in real life. But I think that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. I read all the comments, so definitely let me hear your opinion on the matter. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because there is a lot of good content on the horizon. Hopefully. Now it is time for me to shout out my very patient patrons who just put up with me not doing anything for a bit. Thank you all so much. Jimmo, Enui Blue, Levon, Maxo11X, Chris Sturman, MDB3000, Jenny Cook, Amanda Gillies, Cho, Daniel Delapenna, Deborah Douglas, Dr. A, Finn Yee, Hannah, welcome, Horatio T, Invader Jill, Justin Godsey, Kitty Sparkles, Clipper, Ouroboros, Rob Sop, Sandyman, Spoonie the Rogue, welcome back, V stands for, William Ash, Jacob K, Camper Supreme, Megan Breeze, Psychic Kumquat, Alex Anakin, Daisy, Dollface Sinner, Knit1 Code 2, Lil Spoon, Ben, Esperova, Francois Tremblay. I always see you in Clickatat's comments. Jubes, Ms. Mayhem, Nick Lucarelli, and Petulant Panda. Thanks once again for bearing with me here. We're hopefully going to make great things happen this month. Yeah, I'm not done this week yet. I have a few series I haven't finished and I'd like to. Maybe even some Russell Greer or Wheezybeard. But for now, have a great night everyone, and don't try to worm your way into other people's relationships. That is such stupid advice. You all know that. It's common sense.